Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Port Charlotte Heavily Peated 2014 edition. 50% ABV. Dustin, I believe it is 7 years old. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Didn't you say you just got this?
I did, which is kind of confusing me. It's a 20. That would make it the 2021.
Yeah, this is June of 2024.
And I mean, it just showed up locally here, so
That's not all crazy. Dustin, why is this different from the standard 10?
So this is their Islay barley. So just kind of like how they do the .3s with the Octomore.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is kind of the same thing here.
I tell you what, Dustin, that's a light color.
Yes.
Light color.
They're not messing with us with any kind of BS. Now, we loved, I believe it was a 2012 edition.
Yes, we did the 2012 Heavily Peated in like the 10, but like the one that was, that we did, the previous incarnation was a 12, which I can't remember how old that was. I want to say 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, but we definitely did the Heavily Peated, Port Charlotte Islay malt, or Islay barley, sorry. Islay barley, and loved it. I picked up on one of the other ones, wasn't impressed, didn't feel like bringing it to the channel. And then I said, that was a mistake. We should bring them even if we're not impressed. So make sure this one we got.
You guys might be out here looking at these bottles. We recently just got it.
Ooh.
We like Islay. Friends of Port Charlotte.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That is a sweet citrusy note, man.
Sweet citrus and a nice warm vanilla.
Yeah. Nice barley notes, too. Mm-hmm. Very earthy. Almost giving off, kind of as you like to call it, white cinnamon.
Twinge of sour.
Now, there's what is this? There's another type of spice in here. It's like a...
I agree.
Cardamom or it's something Christmassy, but again, it's more like the white notes of Christmas.
Yeah, this almost reminds this almost borders on like a Sauternes cask in some ways. This is just ex-bourbon, yes?
I'm pretty sure it's just ex-bourbon, but yeah, you're right. It definitely gives me a little bit of white wine notes, which already has me. And I haven't touched this here in about a month since I picked it up a while ago. I've had a little bit.
Sauternes is a light white wine.
Oh yeah.
But I'm thinking back to that Long Row independent bottle, like those 11-year-old. There's some. It's almost like you get the vanilla note, but I never say like a warm vanilla. There's almost like a vanilla with some type of I don't want to say sardine note, but there's some type of a fish oil / brine coastal salty.
I used to do some cod liver oil stuff, and they often would flavor that like a little bit of a lemon note. So I kind of see where you're going with that.
Mm-hmm. And there's lemon here too. I mean, it's citrus and sour.
Citrus and earthy. Now, not a ton of smoke. Now,
agreed.
We've definitely been kind of, sipping on some smoky whiskeys today.
This is a peated whiskey, you can tell, but you can tell the peat's very young. It's almost like peat that hasn't caught on fire yet.
Well, and I guess my focus here is it's not a smoky peat.
Agreed. I was almost going to say the fire just got started.
Yeah.
But there isn't big yet.
No, I mean,
it's burning through a little bit of vanilla wood.
No wood smoke, no barbecue.
What did I say earlier? Warm vanilla. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a warm wood.
It's earthy. It's definitely got some nice notes, but I
can tell the steam's starting to rise, the temperature's coming up, but not smoke.
Now, Port Charlotte's always been a very sweet, oily, safe peat. Even when they call it heavily peated, it's just very safe and comfortable. I actually find that when they use the red wine notes, it actually gives it more of an aggressive assertiveness that kind of enhances and plays with the peat. But when you don't do that, it really is a soft, subtle, just approachable whiskey.
The vanilla is building. An obvious sign of refill ex-bourbon. Mm-hmm. There is a wispy, chippy, slightly char note to it.
Yeah,
that could be youth, though.
Now, there's a nice, actually, now that I'm really digging in here, there's a subtle, nice wood smoke. It's so clean, it's hard to catch because the lemon stuff just kind of seems to go with it.
Citrus is strong on this one. Mm-hmm. And when you get a young whiskey, it's sour and citrus. That is a pretty dominating note. I mean, so is peat. But the peat almost is integrated into the citrus note to some degree. I've said Cleveland's like a lemon loaf, a lemony peat. Mm-hmm. They're right side by side. I've had enough Port Charlotte to know that's not really something that's all 100% of the time there. But peat and lemon are standing right next to each other.
Yeah, once you dig into this and really just kind of get that smoke and lemon and sweetness coming through, it really is just a really pleasant, balanced whiskey. This is actually incredibly, maybe the most approachable peated whiskey I can think of right now. And that's why the Port Charlotte 10 is so popular, is it's a very approachable peat. This is even more approachable because it's got a little bit more richness, I feel like, on the nose.
Really impressive for a 7-year-old whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had a 7-year-old Lagavulin, I've had 8-year-old Ardbegs, I've had young Islay whiskeys. They come off rougher than this.
They usually come off very unpleasant to a lot of ways. You're right.
All right, let's give it a sip, Dustin.
Well, yeah, this is... Initially, if you just go right in, you get a little too much citrus. But if you just gently nose it and let it kind of sit there, you really get to enjoy that very subtle, nice balance of wood smoke, lemon, vanilla.
Initially citrus, then it gets into mid-palate vanilla, oak, and the distillery characteristic, you get a little bit of that barley. As soon as you swallow, bang, citrus comes right back. But then comes the bonfire, finally. Finally got the fire started. You know what I mean? It's warm, smoke is enveloping, way more smoky on the palate, and where the smoke really shows itself is here on the finish. Smoke, but not too overpowering, substantial. Like, it's not thick smoke, but it's in the whole room.
I will say this, Mike. This is one of the first whiskeys we've had today that the alcohol did kind of hit me a little off-putting.
Really? What part of the experience?
It's on the finish. And it's just really just a sign that, this is
Young.
7-year young whiskey. So it's a little fiery, a little punchy. Now, some people really like that. Some of our bourbon drinking friends, for example, they enjoy a little bit more alcohol punch than the Scotch drinkers tend to like.
Look.
This is definitely a peated bourbon drinkers whiskey right here.
It's not overly... It's punchy because it's young, not punchy because the ABV is ridiculous.
Correct.
And still, Port Charlotte does do young whiskeys pretty well in general, like Ardbeg. They don't get too snappy, punchy. If you get a super young Lagavulin and you get a super young Lefroy, they can get...
Some of the Kalilas are just downright nasty.
Or some Kalilas too. I mean, they get a little aggressive.
I've had some 5-year Kalila that was just... Oof.
But, I still think of this compared to, an average Octomore. This comes off every, 5-6-year-old Octomores, this comes off every bit as old as those and a year or two older easily.
Now, we've had some of these that were smokier that I thought sat better in a comparison with an Octomore. You can go look. We've got a video where we compared
we like to do
one of these to an Octomore.
Yeah, we like to do that.
This one's not going to fare as well because it is not as smoky, not as peaty. Despite being younger, it's actually coming off a little less peated than the best of these.
Which is odd because normally with a young whiskey, you would not try to show the distillery characteristic to this degree. You try to hide it up.
They are letting the distillery...
Yeah. They're complimenting it.
It's
7 years old.
You're getting that. I mean, again, whatever the barley they're using here, it's delicious.
And they're just I don't think it's all the barley. That's a nice thing. I don't even want to call it a gimmick. It's a nice thing.
Well, I mean, you can go have a .1 and a .3. There's a distinct flavor difference.
On the Octomores, I agree with you.
And same here. This is distinctly different than a 10. Oh, if I bring you a 10, you would be like, oh, they're totally different.
The grain note.
The grain note, yeah. Absolutely.
You might be right. This is very recognizable Port Charlotte.
It is because I think Port Charlotte, again, I think they do narrow cuts. I think they probably have a lower entry point in terms of ABV.
You're probably right, yeah, on both those counts.
They do all the stuff to make a better whiskey. They're trying to make the best tasting new make. I really believe their goal is to make the best tasting new make.
Turn and burn. It's get it in there, get a good cast, have it there for 5 to 8 years, and get it out.
Well, the thing is, though, if you do what Macallan does, you make a terrible distillate because you want to make a lot of it cheaply. Mm-hmm. They're making an expensive distillate, and they're not aging it as long. Whereas Macallan says we're going to use the best cask and we're going to age it longer.
Or it could just be this whiskey shines at a younger age.
I mean,
think about the 18. Well, and we'll do this one time. We'll get this 7, a 10, the 18. We'll put them all the next.
18 was such a weird mixture of casks, though.
But my point is, it didn't obviously shine as an 18-year-old. I think this distillery shines at a young age.
Yeah,
and they think it too. That's why the whole Octomore series.
But again, that's my point is that it's because they're spending more money making a better malt to start with, whereas a lot of distilleries are making a mediocre malt because they're mass producing it, and then they're using casks to hide it, essentially.
You could very well be right. Let me play devil's advocate here. It's just the malt they inherited when they took the job, and this malt just happens to do well at young.
It's not just the malt again; it's the malt and the distillation process.
I agree. You're right.
The distillation process is the big part.
I could be completely wrong, Dustin.
I mean, this is what we're seeing like right now with bourbon. Like a lot of these craft bourbon distilleries are coming in and they're saying, look, we're going to use a better corn, we're going to use a better malt, we're going to put it in a lower proof.
Well, yeah, you got
to
distinguish yourself in some way at this point in the day and age. You know what I mean?
Whereas
because you have established brands.
Whereas the big boys are just like, we're making as much as we can and we're going to age it longer because we can afford to wait.
I mean,
you can't.
But to be completely transparent, what Islay distillery doesn't do a young whiskey well? Doesn't do a 10-year-old whiskey well? Bowmore?
Lagavulin.
Come on, man. The
12 works. The 10 doesn't.
Okay, let's still.
And the 8 doesn't work.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. Okay. Well, let me say young whiskey, 10, 12-year-old whiskey. What Islay distillery does not do that?
Oh, they'll do by the 10, 12. But like I think Kilchoman puts out a pretty good 6-year-old whiskey.
For sure.
I don't think Lagavulin could.
Probably.
So I mean, that's kind of my point. Is this 7-year-old whiskey?
Lagavulin needs to be a little bit more aged than the other Islay distilleries.
And I don't know if I'd want. I mean, the Wee Beastie is not my thing either. We're from Ardbeg.
I'm so tired of young Ardbeg.
Yeah, young Ardbeg does not work for me. Again, I think they're trying to produce as much whiskey as possible. Fair enough. And but by 10 years, it's really good, so it's fine. But wait 10, please, Ardbeg.
You really think Corey Becken and Ugadell was ever even close to 10 years? I don't. It doesn't matter.
It's true, but they're also hiding with casks.
For sure, but that's 5-6-year-old whiskey.
Absolutely, but they're hiding it with hugely heavily sherried and peppered casks. Anyway,
right. Let's get back to it.
My point is they wouldn't do a bourbon cask and do it well with like this did.
Probably.
Because as you've commented, and the whole point of this whole topic here is that this is this is letting the distillate shine.
Agreed. Which is a bold move for 7.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I'm getting at here.
And again, if this is just ex-bourbon, if it's not Sauternes or is something like a white wine like Sauternes, not only did you not give it age, you really didn't give it a lot of cover. Mm-mm. Here you go, rookie. Take it down. Take the ball. Score.
Ooh,
Everyone's trying to stop you.
I like it with water, too. It's sweet. It's balanced. It doesn't have a lot of, ups and downs. It's very smooth from start to finish. It's just earthy, sweet, vanilla, oak, all the way through. Finish, okay, a little bit more smoke. Smoke's turned down. But this, again, if you just want something to sip on, over the course of a night, you want to have 4 or 5 glasses, 6 glasses. Put a little drop of water in here, and you can just kind of sit back and go all night while watching the fire, listening to some music, a little Sinatra.
Oh, this is. I got a soft spot for this distillery anyway, and I love this expression of their whiskey.
All right, good with this with a drop of water, listening to Sinatra, watching a fire, just sitting in your chair.
Whatever music does well for you, a little CCR for me, but hey, each their own, Dustin. To each
saying
their own.
Something simple, classic,
Yeah, easy to get behind. Whiskey score time, my friend. And it's your boss. Let me go first.
Yep.
87. I was going to give it an 88. It's a fun whiskey. I still want to properly put in its place for what it is. 50% solid, 7 years old, young. Probably ex-bourbon cask maturation, at the very least, solid cask maturation. It's a good, fun whiskey. Usually I would say it's an 88, but I need a twinge more to be an 88. I'm an 87.
I was going a little lower, Mike. I'm an 86.
Oh, okay.
86 is good whiskey, man.
For sure.
That's what this is. It's good whiskey. In fact, 85 is good whiskey. This is above good whiskey. But, 87, I'm starting to think I'd be willing to pay closer to 150, if it was really...
At least $100.
In my range.
Mm-hmm.
I'd pay 100 for this, but 87, if it's my style, and this is my style, it's heavily peated, great distillery.
Mm-hmm.
If they start asking 150 here, I'm not so sure I'm in, and that's why I'm thinking more of an 86. It's just easy drinking, but it is young. It did bite a little bit with the alcohol, which is kind of, that's I think a pretty obvious sign of the quality level. It's not quite what I want.
You know what we need to do? We need to compare this to Lagavulin 7, the Jazz Fest from a couple of years ago, and see what 2 7-year-old Islas really can do.
I think that's a great one. See if this stands out.
If you guys want to see that, let you know. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, but anyway, I was done then. But this is solid whiskey, 86.
86, 87. So you know our feelings on it. You get it for $100, $120. Buy it.
Yeah, I said I got about $90 on this, but I've seen other places asking $110. I think it's a reasonable price anywhere in that range.
Yeah, this is a quality product.
Yeah.
Absolutely quality. The last time I had the 10-year-old at 50%, I got, for the first time in a long time, I was like, you know what? That might be better than Ardbeg 10. For the standard 10-year-old Islay whiskey, that's probably surpassed Ardbeg 10.
And that's a $65 bottle. I mean, good price.
They're both about the same.
Yeah, Ardbeg 10's gone up around here. It used to be a bit better value. Now,
It was such an easy go-to. It was like $50 for years, $46. Like
we'd see a sale here in Ohio every now and then. It was
38 or
40 something. I'm like, oh my god,
38 with
go pick one
glasses.
up.
Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. Another strong offering from our favorite island of Islay.
There you go.
If you guys had a chance to try this one, I'd like to know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy local drinking.
See you next time.